What's going on, gang? Welcome back to Becoming Limitless Podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Petta. Gang, it has been a minute. I haven't hit a pod on this Becoming Limitless Podcast since about mid-October. Things have been kind of crazy. In the month of November, I was traveling with my buddy Joey. We were going throughout Colombia to the Colombian coast, the Caribbean coast. We hit Cartagena, we hit Santa Marta, this amazing park called Parque Tayrona, and then we went to San Andres, which is this island right off Nicaragua, for a few weeks. And so I was on the move for a long time there, not really settled for a while. After that, I went home from Thanksgiving to Christmas for about a month, just enjoying time at home, enjoying the holidays, and enjoying the time with friends. And then after that, the day after Christmas, I was on the move again with my uncle Tomasz. We went to Cali, Colombia for the Feria de Cali, which is like the biggest salsa festival in the world, pretty much. It is absolutely massive, this electric festival. Cali is such an amazing place. We had an absolutely incredible time. Pretty much just this dancing through the day and night, 7 days for pretty much an entire week. Explored Cali a little bit, absolutely amazing, and just an electric experience. After that, we went to Salento, this part of Colombia that is in the coffee region. We went hiking. We rode some horses like up this mountain, which is actually kind of a funny story. Like all the other tourists were going on this road to this super safe path, riding the horses, but my uncle's a little bit of a daredevil. He likes to go fast. And so we asked the tour guide, is there any way we can gallop on the horses? Now, mind you, this was only my second time ever on a horse in my life. And we ended up going, the tour guide brought it to this like side gate that was locked. And he asked his buddy for the keys and he unlocked the gate. And then, we went off this beaten path, pretty much climbing, galloping up this mountain in Colombia on horses. It was absolutely terrifying experience, especially for my second time. I think it was a little bit too advanced for me. Couple near falls, but we're still here to tell the tale. And it was definitely genuinely one of the highlights for me, for real, of that trip. We went on a coffee tour in Salento, again, coffee capital of Colombia. There's this region called Eje Cafeterio, which is just this region of Colombia that produces like all their amazing coffee, and it was such a cool experience. Then after that, now I'm back in Medellin, Colombia, but I'm able to start the pod again because I'm back and settled. I'm not on the move. It's a little bit difficult to do the pod when I'm moving all the time, traveling all the time. I did do 5 episodes when I was at home in my other podcast, the Higher Purpose podcast, with my buddy Chris. Definitely check those out on Spotify and Apple. But yeah, this is my return to the Becoming Limitless podcast. I'm absolutely hyped, gang, to be back here. I'm absolutely hyped to be continuing the routine and hitting a pod every single week for y'all. Just keeping you guys up to date on all things personal development, personal growth, becoming the best version of yourself, keeping you guys updated on the things that I'm doing, what's going on in my life. And today's topic, so I put a poll on Instagram. I was like, what do you guys want to hear about? Journaling, sleep, how to build your confidence, or some life lessons that I've learned from traveling. People seem to be most interested right now in the lessons that I've learned from traveling in my life, which is pretty timely because I've been doing a lot of it recently. Like I said, was not necessarily traveling, but living in Medellin, Colombia last year for a few months. Then came November, and I was traveling with my buddy throughout the Caribbean coast to some different places. Came home for the quick break, then went to Cali, Colombia, Salento, back in Medellin. So these travel experiences are top of my mind, and I've also done a ton of other traveling in my life up until this point. Been super, super, super fortunate, and I can genuinely say that travel has absolutely enhance my quality of life, my overall fulfillment, my overall enjoyment of life, genuinely. And so, yeah, at this point in my life, again, gang, very grateful, very thankful. So I've been to about probably 16 different countries in my life. That doesn't really include some of the islands that I've been to. I've been on like cruise ships and stuff, popping into some of those islands in the Caribbean. I've like looked it up. I don't think they qualify as countries, but whatever. Most of the quote unquote countries I've been to my life, like 16 of them, have mostly been at this point now in Europe and South America. Um, and like I said, gang, ever since the beginning of travel, it just absolutely. Well, I mean, in the beginning when I was younger, it was a little bit scary. I was a little bit intimidated seeing like people looking different than me, talking different than me. It was definitely kind of like a eye-opening experience in the beginning, and still is now, but for different reasons. And one reason I think that, well, for me, travel is it became so much more natural in my life is because my dad is from Poland. All right. And so my family lives in Poland. So I was going there when I was very young, when I was a little baby. And this was normal for me. It was normal for me to hear my dad speaking Polish to his dad and his family, my cousins speaking Polish from Poland. So I believe that having family family in international places in Europe kind of made it pretty. It was very normal for me, just like very normal growing up that, yeah, people live in other parts of the world. They speak different languages. But then just hearing stories from my dad as well. I mean, my dad has been traveling all over the world since he was young. He went from Poland to Germany to Canada to Miami to when he was with my mom in Albany. My uncle Tomasz has been living in London now for about like 20 years, the one I was just traveling with. My cousins travel a ton. My cousin McCoy was like in Cambodia during COVID, like kind of stuck there in Asia. And so travel is just kind of a part of my family. It's a part of my blood. I just think that we're just very like adventures in my blood. And it's something that we yearn for, my family. And it just really excites us, brings us in the moment, makes us very present, very grateful, very thankful. I think we're all very multi-passionate and curious people. And it's just something that excites me so much in my life, and I'm just going to continue to keep doing it for as long as I possibly can while I have my time on this earth. So and also lastly, going on some vacations with my family, very thankful, like Mexico, Turks and Caicos, just some other places that were very exotic. Even just showed me that these tropical places that are absolutely beautiful exist out there, and I want to see as many of those as I possibly could. But again, so where this started, definitely with my family, kind of just being, just recognizing how normal it was for my family. But really the big catalyst for me in my life when it came to travel, especially like coming to being really, really interested in Latin America and South America and Central America, was when I did an internship abroad in Valencia, Spain, for 2 months when I was 19 years old. All right. So when this 2 months in Spain 100% changed my life. All right. It was really one of the first times that I was in an international place for a long time. And I was old enough to really like observe and take note of the different styles of living that people are doing every single day in different parts of the world. So when I was in Spain, what I really realized and picked up on was that these people were finding enjoyment in every single day of the week. They were meeting up with their friends in the middle of the day, like in the middle of the workday, like to have a glass of wine, to chat, to laugh. They were taking siestas, like 2-hour naps in the afternoon. They were working later, maybe till like a 7 o'clock at night, but they weren't working as aggressively, as hard each and every day. Like I said, they're being social throughout every day of the week, not solely living for the weekends, grinding all week, and just going super, super hard on the weekends, whether it's like partying, drinking, and then feeling that whatever those Sunday scaries, right? And then back to the grind on Monday. They were living such um, a type of lifestyle that was like moderation, but also just, again, finding that enjoyment in every single day. And it was the first time in my life I was like, wow, like this is absolutely amazing. Like the type of living that's in my town in New York, in Albany, New York, this isn't the only type of way to live. Like, people think differently, people do things differently. And I know it sounds obvious, but I think it's so easy when you're in your bubble to think that, oh, like, this is how everyone's living. Like, this is just how you live life. And it's just not the case. Like, people from all over the world are living completely different styles of life. And I realized when I was in Spain that I was so interested and in love with their style of life and their culture, that I decided, I was like, I want to travel, explore, learn from other people, other cultures, other parts of the world. And I want to take the things that I really like and apply them to my life, and maybe not take some things that I don't enjoy as much. But also it's like this concept of lifestyle design, where I'm taking every single part of the puzzle that works well for me and creating it together. And some examples I'll say is, like, for example, like the siestas in Spain, like, absolutely amazing. I love the siesta concept. I love to take a siesta every single day. It's so important. I feel refreshed after. It's amazing. I love that they meet up with their friends in the middle of the day. This is like super important to me. Like, being social, the relationships is so important. I've been in monk mode before, where I haven't seen people on weeks on end, just grinding, working so hard. And this was not a very fulfilling way of life either, that I realized fairly quickly. So I love the aspects of them being social. I love the aspects of them taking the siesta, not taking themselves so seriously all the time with work and all this stuff. In the gym even too, they're just such a more, like, everyone looked fit. Like, everyone was just like in shape, looked fit, just getting kind of a pump in, not necessarily going absolutely nuts, putting on as much weight as possible, taking all the supplements, all the protein, just trying to not really going crazy with it, just like moving, getting exercise, getting a pump to feel good, and just be fit and lean, not necessarily going to the extremes that we do in the US so often. So I liked all those a lot. Some areas that I don't love about, aspects I don't love about, like, a culture in like a Spain or an Argentina, is they eat dinner at like 11 o'clock at night. These are like late night culture. So they'll eat dinner at like 11. They're in bed by like 1 or something on a weekday. I don't love that, because I like to get to sleep fairly early. Sleep is so important to me. And so those type of aspects is like, yes, I love the being social aspects during the week. I love the siesta aspects. I love their kind of viewpoints on just like health and lifestyle and fitness in general. I do not love the super late night culture. So when I'm saying I try and learn about these cultures and take what works for me and take what doesn't, this is like a prime example of, like, I love all these aspects, but I don't necessarily love that aspect. So it's almost a sense of lifestyle design, trying to create the ideal lifestyle for myself that makes me the happiest, that makes me the most fulfilled, that makes me able to thrive. So those are just some aspects right there about travel that are so important to me. And so again, like I said, like, Spain was really the catalyst for me to be like, wow, like, I really love like this world over here, this style of living. And then just like kind of specifically, that made me very interested in South America and Latin America. Because I was just listening to a lot of like Latin music at the time. Like I said, Spanish culture is different than different cultures in South America and Latin America, but I wanted to see that for myself and see the comparisons. And definitely Colombia would probably have the most similar comparison, I believe, to like culture in Spain. If I had to say, out of the places I've been to in South America, which is like Brazil, Peru, Ecuador, Argentina, Chile, I believe Colombia probably has the most similar in my experience. But I really like that, right? Like, they really prioritize fun, being social, holidays, resting. They prioritize their families. They prioritize like eating and just being together and just the lighthearted side of life. Maybe they don't prioritize like the business side and working that hard as much as I would like. But again, that's I bring my 2 cents in and I figure out what works best for me. And that's enjoy the holidays, enjoy the culture, enjoy the food, enjoy the rest and the dancing, but then also bring my side that works for me and that makes me fulfilled. And that is working hard and building my business and trying to have as big an impact on others and the world as I can. So combining all those things, taking all the things that are super, super important to me and creating my life from that. And so, again, me and my Uncle Tomas were together for about 3 weeks traveling through Colombia, Cali, Salento, Medellin, and we were really talking about 3 of the most important things that we believe can help you integrate with any culture at all, no matter where you go in the world. Three key aspects that are so important. And the first one maybe is probably pretty obvious, but this is just learning the language, all right? So obviously you go to a new place, a new culture, a new country that speaks a different language. Obviously learning the language is going to be absolutely massive to be able to connect and really get a deeper understanding and a more enriching experience overall. Like, it's fairly obvious, but there's a lot of people that do travel to these countries and especially speaking English, take it for granted and take advantage of, like, oh, people just speak English. The whole world's learning English. Well, a lot of the world still doesn't speak English. And when you can connect and speak the language of the people, the locals of the places you're going, they appreciate that so, so much. And you really, really can have such a deep understanding, a much deeper understanding and experience with those people. And so the learning the language is absolutely key to integrate with any culture. The second one me and my uncle talked about was learning how to dance, or just being open to trying how to dance and being totally okay with looking goofy. But dance, again, another universal language. It doesn't matter which corner of the globe you go, people are dancing. Like, people are celebrating, expressing themselves. This is how they're celebrating life. Like, these are the festivals, the holidays, the when people can relax and have downtime. They're dancing because this is one of the greatest celebrations of life. So I've been trying to learn bachata and salsa, and it makes it so great to meet people and have an amazing experience, especially here in Colombia. However, also, it's just so powerful to just be okay and open-minded to just dancing and looking goofy and just enjoying the time and practicing some humility out on the dance floor with some people. It's absolutely incredible. All right. So I can't suggest it enough, is when you're traveling, is to start moving around a little bit, either try and learn the local dance or just be open to trying and moving with people. All right. Another aspect, the third aspect, and this is cooking. So whether it's like you actually know how to cook, you can have a conversation about cooking, or again, lastly, just being super, super, super open to experiencing the different flavors and tastes and cuisines of the local places, because people all over the globe love to have conversations about food. All right. It's just such an important aspect. There's so many different cultures. So when you can talk about food, when you're open to trying new types of food and drinks, like, that is such a massive connector between people all over the globe. And so those 3, absolutely massive: learning the language, learning how to dance, or learning how to cook, or just be open to the experiences of trying different foods and cuisines, is so, so, so important when you're integrating with any culture. All right. I would say maybe the last, fourth one, you don't have to drink to enjoy traveling, but every single culture does have their little drink of choice. And especially like with locals, will probably appreciate you partaking even a little bit, trying the local bev of that place, whether it's a pint in England or a glass of wine in Rome, or some aguardiente or guado in Colombia. Like, just partaking even a little bit could open some doors and some conversations for sure. And then the last part, I know I titled this one like lessons I've learned from traveling. I kind of just had a brain dump of different things that I was thinking about that felt true to me, like, as I've learned along the years of traveling. I'm sure this list could be more comprehensive. I'm sure I'm going to think about so much more after this and be like, I should have said that, But as we talked about, I'll be traveling hopefully for the rest of my life. So I'll have more episodes on traveling and the lessons learned and in future podcasts as well. So this is just not a comprehensive list, but just kind of a brain dump of things that I felt was important to share for this episode. And so the first one is the world isn't as scary as you think. And this is so important because I think that so many people, they're so scared to travel because of what they see on the news. The news is just telling you, oh, these places are horrible. These places are so dangerous. Look at these Americans who got kidnapped. I've learned over traveling. Yes, of course, you got to be so smart, and you got to be vigilant, and you got to be aware when you go to these places. It's not a free for all, especially in a foreign country. But there are genuinely a lot of good people in the world, and people that are willing to help you, willing to support you on your travels, and they want you to have a good experience of their country and of their land. And people, I believe, are genuinely good on the inside. And just don't let the news deter you from having from going to these places and opening new doors and having the experience for yourself. Because I think a lot of time people have such a everyone's experience is so subjective when they travel. And you'll hear people like, oh, don't go to Jamaica, the worst place in the world. And then they, like, just for example, and then they have this very specific story and example of why you shouldn't go to Jamaica. And then people will not go to this island or this country because they're like, this one person had this one experience, one subjective experience, and now they're telling me not to go, and now I'm not going to go. And yes, I do ask people for recommendations about places, but I always take every single thing, every story with a grain of salt, because it's such a specific subjective experience that I want to go and have that experience for myself and find out for myself. Because there's been places that other people have loved that I haven't liked as much, and there's been places that people have not liked that I've absolutely loved. So I believe it's so important to go out, find out for yourself what the place is like, what the experience is like. All right. And just trust people inherently, not like an idiot, but just trust that people are genuinely good. And I think when you approach the world that way, you're going to see that reciprocated, and you're going to find and see more good people in the world. The next brain dump thing I had is the language, like I talked about before, so important, but not absolutely essential to creating relationships with others. And one of the best examples I can do is just like the relationships I developed with some of my like dance teachers, my bachata and salsa teachers. In the beginning, I remember I was showing up to class and they were speaking just Spanish. And even though I'm trying to learn the language, it's like, so intimidating to just like them only speaking Spanish. You don't really understand. Plus you're trying to learn dance. But it really, I was able to develop such a great relationship with these teachers who I now call my friends, just because we're able to communicate and we're able to laugh together over goofy things. That's not essentially means that we need to know the language. You can get close with people without having to speak the exact words and get those things across. Like, obviously it helps a ton, but it's not absolutely essential. All right. And the next thing I got, smiling and laughing is universal medicine. All right. This always makes the mood lighter. It's always a great route to take, especially when you're uncomfortable and you're in a foreign country. All right. When you smile and you laugh, this totally brings the curtain down. It makes everyone more comfortable. You're being more humble about it because you're traveling. And I just think it is such an important aspect to think about when we are traveling and just connecting with other people. Some other things that were super important to me that I've learned when I've been traveling, and that is I prefer slow traveling. All right. So there's some nomads that will go super quick. They'll be in a place for about, I don't know, they'll be in a place for a week or two, and then they're on the move again. And while it can be cool to just like go around and see a bunch of cool stuff and check off stuff on your bucket list, for me, the slow travel has been so much better. Like staying in a place for 3 months, like in Medellin. I mean, honestly, it's more like I'm just like living here right now than traveling here. but I just prefer to be in a location for at least a month minimum. You just create such deeper experiences with people. You get such a better feel for the place itself. And again, it's just all about the people, gang. No matter where you go, it's about the relationships that you create, which are really going to make that experience in that place such a great destination. I mean, so many people when they're traveling and I talk to them, they're like, this place was cool, but the people were a little bit cold. This place wasn't great, but the people were so friendly, and it made all the difference in the world. All right. So just slow traveling, getting a better experience and feel of the culture in that city, of the people itself, makes the experience 10 times better. At least that's what I believe and I've found. So I prefer slow traveling to just being on the move all the time, like backpacking. Which I did that for 5 months in South America, which was cool. I don't regret it, but I also learned about the travel I don't want to do going forward. A few more things I learned. The confidence that you gain from traveling solo and navigating a new world is absolutely unmatched confidence. You feel like you genuinely can do anything. Like you're solo, you're depending on yourself, you're trusting your resourcefulness, you're getting out of your comfort zone, and you are growing so much when you genuinely are being able to travel solo, navigate the world, navigate different circumstances and situations. And this is a absolute confidence kick. I cannot stress that enough. Another aspect that people talk to me a lot about when it comes to traveling is, what if I hate it? What if I don't like this place? And I tell them, okay, like if you don't like it, it's the worst experience in the world. You can always go back home. Like you can always go home. Your home isn't going anywhere. But if you don't take the leap and you don't go, you're always going to be asking yourself, like, what if I had gone? You're going to be experience that regret of inaction. And there's almost nothing worse than the regret of inaction. We hardly ever regret the action we took more than we regret the actions we didn't take, more than we regret not taking action. Okay. So you can always go home. I always suggest take the leap. All right. Take the leap. Lastly, I get this question a lot when I go home. And that is about, how do I meet people? How do I meet friends and others when I go? At this point in time in 2023, it has got to be the easiest time in the world to meet people. All right. You can use Facebook groups. You can use apps like Meetup. You can go to co-living spaces. You can go to hostels, especially if you're traveling solo. So many other solo travelers, everyone's looking to meet people. Everyone's looking to talk to each other. And so usually what I do is I just type in the Facebook group of like digital nomads, like Medellin, digital nomads, Barcelona, whatever. Like you can find all these groups on Facebook. You ask a question, you introduce yourself, you meet people in these groups. Usually they give you resources. And it's never been easier to actually meet people. Usually every time I arrive somewhere solo, but it doesn't stay that way for very long. I'm always meeting people. I've met some incredible people from traveling, like some of my best friends now. And it's just like, it's one of those things. It's like, yeah, you just trust, like you put yourself in the places where you can meet people. All right. Whether it is those hostels, co-living, you're going to meetups, you're putting yourself in the Facebook group to meet people. You got to put yourself out there. You got to put yourself in the places where you're going to be meeting people to have these experiences. All right. And the last thing, just travel overall for me, extremely fulfilling. All right. It always drops me into the present moment. I think that happens because it is such a novel experience. Your senses are alert, but it's the unknown, right? And I genuinely believe in moving towards the unknown and moving towards the uncertainty, because things, if you just believe they can be even better than you imagined, they usually do end up being better than you imagined in general. And I'm always trying to create new experiences and not recreate old experiences. Not because the old experiences weren't good, but because I want something fresh and I want to learn and I want to grow and I want to explore. And I'm a super curious person. And adventure and travel and novel experience absolutely fills me. It fulfills me. It fills that gap of just doing the same routine day in and day out, which I love. I love discipline. I love the routine, but I need the spontaneity. I need the adventure. And travel has absolutely filled me up with more than I could have ever imagined in my life. And I'm genuinely, again, so grateful and so thankful I've had the ability to. And I really just want others to be able to experience this level of fulfillment that I have over these years. And again, the purpose of this podcast, I want to help people live the highest quality of life possible, live fulfilled lives, believe that they are capable of anything, creating any type of life that they want to. And I genuinely believe that travel, for me personally, is an absolute key to living an incredible, fulfilled life. And I just want others to be able to do the same. All right, gang, that is all I got for now from lessons I've learned from traveling. I'm super grateful for you guys tuning into episode 17. Like I said, I'm excited to keep doing this on a regular basis, having the pod back, connecting with you guys. Let me know if you enjoyed it. Let me know if you agree with me about travel. If you disagree, let me know any topics you want me to discuss about improving our lives, improving personally, growing, and just learning how to live the best, highest quality of life possible. All right, gang, thank you so much. Until next time. All right, peace.